Decoupling the love and rating dialogues will allow you to get customer pulse using the love dialogue at a more frequent rate while asking for ratings less to overcome the limitations of showing each of those dialogues and keeping your ratings high at the same time. So in order to do this, the first thing that you might notice is if you go to the rating dialogue and you try to target it, it's going to be locked. These two are still linked to each other, so we need to fully decouple them. So pop over to your love dialogue, and you'll see here in the second module, if you click edit options. So while we're showing this little we love you too, it's still linked using this checkbox. This allows you to publish the rating dialogue using the same love dialogue targeting, just at a later date. We don't want to do that. We want them to be fully separated from each other. So uncheck that, make sure to save. While you're on this page, just double check that all of your text looks the way that you want it to. You can rename your buttons, things like that. You can edit this dialog box here. So maybe instead of we love you too, you can put thanks for the love, something like that. You also want to make sure that your no answers are going to the correct place. So if you're using a survey, double check your survey or send people to message center. Your love dialogue targeting is pretty likely set up already, but let's just do a quick run through. So as you may be familiar, you want to target to the love dialogue to who and where. So first with the who segment, you'll use has seen event, and then we're going to go, here we go, and then count is going to be version agnostic, so from the life cycle of that person having your app, versus count an installed version that will be version specific. So we'll reset each time they download the latest version. That's definitely the better move in general, but especially for things like the love and rating dialogue where you want to make sure that people have used these features more recently. Time since last seen is time-based criteria, which can also be helpful, but we're going to go with count and installed. And then similarly here, you want to select the is at least option instead of something like is. It gives you a little bit more flexibility so they can do something at least 4 times or higher. You can add additional rules into these segments or add an additional segment as well. There we go. Same thing. So once you have your who segment set up, then you want to determine where you want this to show up. So you want good non-interruptive events. So things like back buttons, close buttons, things that show that people have completed an action and you're not going to interrupt them. While the love dialogue is a super quick yes or no question, we still want to make sure that we're getting a good response rate from people by showing it at a time when they're not in the middle of doing something else. Finally, you have your how often targeting. So this first section here, wait a certain number of launches, that is there to serve as a safety net to ensure that you don't show the dialogue basically on the first time somebody's in the app. You want to make sure that they've had some time to experience the app. Basically, they know enough to give you feedback. Your who targeting above should be restrictive enough that it ensures that they've had that experience, but by setting this to 2, it just provides that additional fail-safe. You'll also want to show the dialogue once per person per version of your app release. So they'll never see it more than once in a current release, and then you have some additional targeting down here that can help space that out. So pretty likely if your love dialogue and your rating dialogue are coupled, you have this set to something pretty conservative, maybe 90 days, 120 days. With the decoupling, you can lower this quite substantially because you want that love dialogue pulse over a certain cadence. So maybe if you do a monthly release, you might want to show this every 30 days so you can get an update in each release. It's a quick question, it's pretty lightweight, and you're still going to be quite thoughtful above to ensure that people are seeing it at a good time. So you can go 30, we recommend anywhere from 30 to 60 days. So let's say 45 here. So you'll save that. And then your love dialogue is ready to go. From here, you want to pop over to the rating dialogue. So we're in an iOS dashboard right now. So you see the Apple rating dialog here. And now when you go to targeting, you'll see that this page has opened up and given you the ability to set your own targeting. So first things first, with the decoupling, you still want to make sure that you're asking people who have had a positive experience to leave you a rating. So those people who love you, you can do so very, very easily using has seen interaction. And then you're going to select love. Again, to make sure that they've loved you in a more recent version, aka the current version, select count and installed version, and then 1. That should be the basis for every single one of your segments that you set up for your rating dialog. Then you can go about adding additional rules here. So what you'll want to do is you want to pare down your audience quite a bit and show it to fewer customers. So you're spreading out those opportunities for ratings over time and ensuring that you don't hit the limits that both Apple and Google have set for their rating dialogues, and also ensuring that you have people to ask for ratings at a regular cadence throughout the year. If you burn through all of your chances too quickly, then when you have a release in 6 or 9 months, you're not going to have any customers to ask for those ratings, and you could potentially see a drop. So you'll see here we're being pretty restrictive. You can, first of all, contact our team if you want any help with targeting, so your customer success manager or support at Apptentive.com. You can also get a gauge from the events page as to how to target. Another thing that could be really helpful here is if you're setting, if you send us custom data, so that will show up here right below this person and device data section, that would be a really great place to, this would be a great place to use it, because you can target to people who are, say, rewards members, or maybe at a particular rewards level. Maybe like in this example, this is kind of like a media TV watching app. So maybe if it's somebody who set favorite channels, or if you're a banking app, maybe somebody who has direct deposit set up or something like that. So think about custom attributes, what we call custom data. Think about creative events, things that show a little bit of a deeper engagement. Similar to the love dialog, make sure you're thinking about multiple segments here. So again, each one should have this as a baseline, and then you can add additional events. So you might notice we use the visited news, and then we'll do the watch list one here. We're just making them a lot more restrictive. Again, you may want to consider adding more criteria here based on your app, custom data, things like that. So get creative. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're definitely here to help you brainstorm. Next, your where events. Totally okay to use the same where events that you have on the love dialog. You will not show the rating dialog until somebody's already seen the love dialog. So it's not going to be an interruptive or strange experience. It's more important to pick places that people are not going to feel interrupted and are more natural stopping points that give them a chance to take a second to rate. Because the because the Apple and the Android rating dialogs are both in-app prompts, they can be pretty easy to use and quite quick. The last thing that you're going to want to do is check your how often. So again, 2 launches just to make sure they don't see this on the first launch, and then never show more than once per. So this is where you are going to be more conservative. 90 to 120 days is our recommendation, just to make sure that you're stretching out those opportunities as described. Once this is all saved, you are ready to launch your rating dialog decoupled. Feel free to reach out to your customer success manager or support at Apptentive.com if you have questions or want help with your setup or just need a little bit of guidance. We're here.